Hello, good morning. Some words, sharing some words of wisdom, or so thoughts of wisdom. If you tell a modern man today, through her history, through the pages of history, you tell the person that you are a duplicate, he doesn't like that. Yeah, of course, I'm not a duplicate, I am me. Well, these are words only, words. Human being claims freedom, claims I am. There is no such a word, with the exception, such a word I am. It's my identity. But I'm not talking about an identity. That we take an ID, national ID or driver's license, whatever. No, that's not what I meant. He doesn't devoid, cannot devoid from carrying a parental image, a parental identity up to the age of puberty. And then there is another image waiting for him, a cultural. And then that's cultural, regional, and then national. Then you hear the words I am, and then when I like to be in that social strata, for me it's kind of security. We use the word we, and keep going, so forth, with these identities. Human being, as I said, claims always that, which is very strange, in the world, from the beginning of the world up to this present moment, you see the conflict. You see the conflict, you see the revolt. Even from the kid, once he starts learning, by the time he becomes a teenager, adolescent, you hear the word revolt. Wow, we don't use the word revolt, that's a lot. No, we say conflict of generation. That's totally misplaced word. A conflict of generation because the parents lived during a time of specific technology. Hey, it became obsolete, and then there is a new technology. This has nothing to do, this is with the material. Talking about conflict of generation, these people, what they say, what is this generation? It's between you and him or whatever, it's 10 years, 20 years. It's not a big change in that generation. No, there is a revolt. Something is manifested in a kid, he doesn't know it. Something is manifested in the kid, the parent, they don't like it. Everything is happening in the world of unconsciousness. There is a uniqueness in the kid. He doesn't know it. He's a kid. Potential uniqueness. The parents don't know it, because I don't say the parents, I say myself. I say because of my egoistic agenda. I use all kind of words, career, your future, and this, just to see my image in the kid. Uniqueness is a potential uniqueness that is manifested all the time. And the kid, I say kid, and then an adult, he is jumping, seeking this identity everywhere. So, if you lose the uniqueness, you'll be by a magnetic field driven, absorbed by the everywhere while being deprived of this everywhere. But if there was an identity, the true identity, the everywhere becomes in your acquisition. There is no everywhere or the somewhere. Everything will be yours. parental identity. I'm talking about the modern man ignores the fact when you say parental identity, a parental image. What's wrong with that? No, what's wrong with that? Does it concern my physiognomy? No, we're not talking about that. Thoughts? No. There is a template in the mind that dominates the mind. There is a cultural template. Template is a soft word. In French, you say un gabarit ou bien un moule. Un moule, M-O-U-L-E peut-être, I don't know, avec un E. A moule, it's kind of, you don't change it. It's a capacity. It's a shape. Human being, the modern man, doesn't want to accept to say, you are a shape of the parents. You are a shape you don't change of your culture, of your nationalism. Yeah, this is how it is. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? It's because your perception, your conception with the analysis, when you scrutinize, you cannot escape all the data that is inside your template. You cannot escape. The son that is a kid that is born in somewhere in Japan and the other one in South Africa. Why? There is the influence of the environment. There is the influence. How to escape it? There's no way to escape it. There is no way to escape it. That's right. That's right. As I said, perception, the eyesight is according to the template. Because within the template, these gabarit, the thoughts, the perception comes, it follows the tracing, the labyrinth. From the culture, from the region, from that sectarianism, wherever, from that polarity. That's how it is. You like it, you don't like it, that's how it is. You cannot escape it. The problem is not limited here. The problem is the free will, supposedly. Free will, supposedly. It's not such a thing. Is the result, is the outcome, is the product of another free will. There's no such a thing. It's the will of the culture. Unconsciously, not unconsciously, it's deeper than that. Is the will of the nationalism. Is the will of the regionalism. Is the will of your whole package background, the recap of the background. Cannot escape it. And there comes the free will. But that kind of free will, as you say, supposedly free will, is a product of another one. You cannot claim it. Here there is no uniqueness. There is a duplicate, photocopy. That's why the revolt is. The potential of the uniqueness is manifested all the time. It finds a blockage. It finds an interruption. Could you be more specific? You're talking uniqueness. Where is it? The potential uniqueness it finds. Comparing to what? You say this versus this. This is in contrast of this. Okay, where is it? Human being before that, you know my topic I'm talking about. He is God's image. God's image, you understand it through Christianity and Judaism. We are the children of God, and I don't know. Just avoid this. You say God's image, try to look at it from a potential, from a philosophical, maybe angle, standpoint, perspective. That means he is universal. His conscience is cosmic. When you say cosmic, that means it doesn't have borders. This word speaking about the macrocosm. Okay, in astrophysics, astronomy, the science tells you that the world is in a constant expansion. When they speak about the Big Bang, even in religion, in Islam, there is a verse what God says that. So the Big Bang, the world was in a, it's like all together with Earth is in one small single agglomeration. And then the explosion, what's here is going on, the world in its constant expansion. I'm not talking about the Milky Way. Above that, the galaxies are in a constant. You cannot draw a map. Impossible. You draw a map, the map is changing all the time. So, why are we talking about this? I said religion. And you say, God says, haven't they realized? Don't they know, the disbelievers, that heaven and earth were both in one single agglomeration, and then we tore them apart asunder. ألم ير الذين كفروا أن السماوات والأرض كانتا رتقا ففتقناهما وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي. Well, we are talking about this. Well, the microcosm, the brain of the person, is like that. You see, me, I look at things bizarre in my life. The modern man is always claiming science. He claims science and he says about this and he says, when it comes to these analysis, this kind of like deep analysis, to scrutinize these things, he is bored. He doesn't know that his potential is there, and he is bored and say, look, I couldn't get along with my daily life, and you're telling me about thinking about the Big Bang, we're thinking about... Well, because the IRS, that makes you think this way. So anyway, the brain is in a constant expansion, has that potential to think that way. It's an expansion there. The galaxies are in a constant expansion here. The synapses, even though what link between the thing, the nerves, it's the same thing. When this potentiality finds an interruption of the culture, parent culture, regionalism, and this nationalism, this is where the person loses his uniqueness. I said I should emphasize the word free will. If the will is yours, that is yours truly, because all of the above have a time of the epoch, a date, a calendar from that will is coming, from the culture, from the parents, culture, region, nationalism. Everything is calendar. Everything is time being punctualized. You are responding to an impulse that is not yours. You are responding to a magnetism of systematism. You are responding to something that is punctualizing you, centralizing you, and giving you a definite way in how to behave. When you go to religion, you're talking about lordship, worship. Who is forcing you in this existence to do your prayer? Who? Nobody is forcing you. The Creator is not forcing you. Who is forcing you to go to give a charity? Nobody is forcing you, not even the Creator. He told you, for instance, what is in Islam, he said it's an obligation. But is someone taking you by force, do it, don't do it, that's your free will. But the will of lordship that you generated by yourself, and you are the master, here you can speak, you say, I'm the master of myself. When it comes to prayer, charity. If you speak about fasting, about the 5 pillars in Islam, this video was not meant for Muslims. There is the truth. I talk to a wide audience, even an atheist person. I'm not focusing on talking to a Muslim. No, no, no. Everybody is welcomed. I would love to share it with everybody. As I said, that is your free will, because that will that came from the Creator, he is just giving you hints about the time, the changing of AM and PM, ante-meridian, post-meridian, night, day. Go that time, do things by yourself. Okay, you're talking about prayer, but is this limited the free will? Well, one second. This is a pillar. This is a link with your Creator. It's like you putting an interrupted wire of the electrical current and you put it on. That's what you're doing. He said that's pillars. Then when it comes to these old moral values, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said there are 300 moral values. You speak about being reliable, being responsible, being empathetic, being sympathetic, being generous, decide a lot. He said 300 that are your potential. Is anybody forcing you to do? They were 300 turning as a circle, stars around your head. Seize them. Seize what you want to do. If not, they will be the property of the institution. Once they become a property of your institution, you are a slave of that particular. Of all what was moral values become static and you become under that command. In contrast, if you dealt with it on your own, you call free will because nobody is forcing you. That's your purpose. That becomes a bootstrap in your life. Here you can sense a little bit, you can say, I'm starting dealing with my own uniqueness. In other words, and we wrap up. Prophet said, he said, you worship God as you see, as if you see him. If you cannot see him, make sure that he sees you. You know, as you see him, you are seeking God. You are seeking God. Look here. What is seeking God as you see him? You know, your eyes are looking for a static. If they find the static, they will shift the static to the brain. But they don't find the static. They keep navigating. So they shift the responsibility to the brain. And the brain, hey, he is very smart. He starts juxtaposing an idea, a formula. This, he becomes a philosopher. He comes and it's still with the static. If you are like, you go to study the limits and you put the domain, of definition, close, you are doing it in your own neurons and you move within this interval in your brain with this logic. If it is open, minus infinity plus infinity, here you travel. There is no somewhere, there is the everywhere. So when the brain gets tired, that's it, I can't. He says, if you cannot see him, then he sees you. What the action that was forward and what was something that was as a transmitter to see, it becomes, what is it? Submission. At the moment you give up, you say in Arabic, al-ajz, you give up. This is where your uniqueness is resulted. Don't claim people, you are not. You are the studies, everything in enthusiasm. It is generated all from your, as I mentioned, from all your culture. It is generated by your culture and you are an extension to that. That's a very deep civilized slavery. It is generated by nationalism. It is generated, all of the above are all remote control pushing you. In contrast, when you do these things, nobody can challenge you. You find the self with the tranquility. No one can explain it to you. Listen, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll see you soon.